Boris Johnson warned Russia they are not fooling anybody anymore today as he rallied EU support over the Salisbury poisoning. The Foreign Secretary accused Moscow of trying to hide the needle of truth in a haystack of lies and obfuscation as he held talks with counterparts in Brussels. Mr Johnson, who will also meet NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg, said he had been heartened by the level of international backing for the UK. Theresa May reiterated her belief in Kremlin responsibility today as international weapons inspectors arrived at Porton Down to carry out independent tests. Speaking in Birmingham today, Mrs May said, "They have the capability. This nerve agent was one from a group of Novichoks that were developed by the Soviets." Russia has the capability and I believe the motive and intent, and this is part of a pattern of behaviour we see from Russia across Europe. This happened in the United Kingdom, it could have happened in another country, and our international allies have been strong in their support for us and their recognition that culpability leads to the Russian state. Asked if Mr Putin was therefore lying with his comments, she said, "I'm clear that what we have seen shows that there is no other conclusion but that the Russian state is culpable for what happened on the streets of Salisbury." He told reporters, "At one time they say they never made Novichok, another time they made it, but all the stocks have been destroyed." "I think what people can see is that this is a classic Russian strategy of trying to conceal the needle of truth in a haystack of lies and obfuscation." He added, "They are not fooling anybody anymore." EU foreign ministers this morning issued a staunch statement of support for the UK over the nerve agent outrage. The group offered unqualified solidarity with the UK and said, "The Union calls on Russia to address urgently the questions raised by the UK and the international community and to provide immediate, full and complete disclosure of its Novichok program to the OPCW." It added, "The lives of many citizens were threatened by this reckless and illegal act." The EU takes extremely seriously the UK government's assessment that it is highly likely that the Russian Federation is responsible. The European Union is shocked at the offensive use of any military-grade nerve agent of a type developed by Russia for the first time on European soil in over 70 years. German Defense Minister Ursula von der Leyen said, "Putin is no longer a partner." When it's clear where the trail leads, the community has to decide how to respond. Polish Minister Konrad Szymanski urged Germany to abandon the Nord Stream 2 pipeline from Russia. This will be one of the most important topics of conversation because after Salisbury a new situation has developed, he said. German MEP Manfred Weber, an ally of Angela Merkel, Putin is leading a modern war against the West. A line has been crossed.We Europeans need to wake up and stop being naive. Our lifestyle is under attack. We have to defend ourselves." Mr. Johnson accused Moscow yesterday of creating and stockpiling the deadly nerve agent used to poison Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia. He said scientists had produced Novichok in breach of international chemical weapons conventions and researched how to use them to assassinate its enemies over the past decade. But as the war of words intensified, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters Britain's allegations were difficult to explain. Groundless and slanderous he demanded the UK provide evidence or apologise. Last night Vladimir Putin dismissed claims his country was behind the Salisbury poisoning as drivel, rubbish, nonsense. The comments came after Mr. Putin won a landslide victory in yesterday's presidential election. Mr. Putin said Russia has destroyed all chemical weapons as he gave a victory speech in Red Square. With regards to this tragedy, the first thing that came to my mind, if this was a military substance, they would have died straight away. You have to understand that. Second, we don't have chemical weapons, he said. We've gotten rid of that, unlike some of our international partners. Russia's ambassador to the EU, Vladimir Chizhov, yesterday hinted the nerve agent could have come from the UK military's chemical weapons laboratory at Porton Down away. He said all production of nerve agent had ended in the early 1990s and stockpiles had been destroyed. But Mr. Johnson described Russia's response as a combination of smug sarcasm and denial, obfuscation and delay, and said Mr. Chizhov was telling lies. Inspectors from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, OPCW, in The Hague, are due to arrive in the UK today to take samples of Novichok from the British authorities.